welcome to Jujube DIY. I'm Sarah. Thanks so much for stopping by. Today I'm bringing you 5 cottagecore inspired DIYs, so stay tuned to see how I create them. So for this first DIY, I'm going to create some Aminita mushrooms out of this Sculpy oven bake clay. I love the Aminita mushrooms. I think they're just really a very sweet mushroom. I know they're poisonous, but I love the look of them and I feel like they fit the cottagecore aesthetic nicely. So I wanted to create them. So I'm going to show you just kind of how I got started making the Aminita mushrooms out of this clay. I will leave the link of the video tutorial that I used to create these in my description box down below, because it is kind of an involved process and it would take me a whole video just to show you how to create these. So if you're interested in creating them also, just go check out that video tutorial. It is a wonderful tutorial and really easy to follow. So here's a look at how they are all done. Well, you can see the tops of them, but they're all baked and ready to go. So I'm going to take my cloche that I bought from the Dollar Tree. I painted the bottom portion of this with the gold spray paint by Rust-oleum. And again, any products that I use in my videos are always pretty much down in the description box below. But if there is something that you are curious about, just leave me a comment and I will get back to you and let you know exactly what product was that I used. So we're going to take one of these little wood stick, I don't even know what they're called. They're like the little wood pieces that you could buy from the Dollar Tree a couple years ago. And I still have some in my stash, but if you can't find those, you can use, just kind of get creative. Maybe go out to your yard and find a stick that you can use, or I think there's, maybe some other things, little wood pieces that you can buy at like Michael's or wherever that you could use to kind of prop that up a little bit. I just wanted to create some height for my mushrooms so they weren't all on the same plane. And I'm just decorating my cloche using some natural elements that you would find maybe in the wild. Amanita mushrooms are kind of found more in the northern parts of the hemisphere. Like I know I live in Washington and we get these Amanita mushrooms in our yard from time to time. So I just wanted to create kind of that moss green forest feel. So if you're new to my channel, I'm Sarah. I like to do home decor on a budget in a farmhouse / cottagecore type style. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, please hit that subscribe button down below. Hit the bell so that you can get notified every time I upload new content. And here's a look at how my cloche turned out. I love this so much. It really just makes me so happy to look at. And I will definitely be displaying this with some other cottagecore items that I have in my hutch. Moving on to DIY number 2. For this DIY, we're going to have one of these Dollar Tree wax melt candle holders. It's the ones where you put the tea light in the bottom and then you add your wax melts on the top. And this one is kind of the basic shape that they carry year round. So I kind of thought that base looked like a little mushroom and I wanted to make a mushroom out of it. So I'm going to take some aluminum foil here and I'm going to start sculpting my mushroom cap with the aluminum foil. And I know this seems like a really weird thing, but you'll see here in just a few minutes what I'm going for. So I made a ring that will fit around the edge of the candle holder. And I'm just going to hot glue this piece of aluminum foil just to the edge here. Now I'll glue that completely down. And I'm kind of fitting it so that the aluminum foil is on top and on the bottom of the candle holder, the edge of the candle holder. And once that hot glue has set, I just kind of squish it down because that's kind of the edge, that's going to be the edge of our mushroom. And then I'm going to build up the center of the cap using balls of aluminum foil. So I just took a big piece of aluminum foil and made it into a ball. And I'm just using, you know, my hands and pressure to shape my aluminum foil to how I want it. As you can see here, like I filled in a little space there with some hot glue. And then I'll just keep adding little bits of aluminum foil until I've created the shape that I'm looking for. Just kind of a dome shape that fits nicely into the top of that holder. And I did follow a tutorial for this kind of technique as well. So I will link one of the lady that I followed. I'll link one of her videos in my description box down below so that you can see how she created the same look. She does fairy houses and stuff out of air dry clay and aluminum foil, and it is amazing. So I'm going to take some of this air dry clay from Crayola, and I am going to put down a bit of cornstarch, which you don't see yet, but eventually I put down cornstarch so that it doesn't stick to my mat. And then I'm just going to use my clay rolling pin to roll this out into a big pancake shape because I'm going to drape it over the top of my mushroom cap. And then I'll just use my fingers to just mold it around the aluminum foil. You just want to be a little gentle here because you don't really want your clay to break too much. But if it does, you can just use a little bit of water in your fingers to smooth it out. Now I do have to say that as my clay was drying, it did crack. So I don't know if I needed to squish down my aluminum foil more, or maybe it was just the clay because it's Crayola. So I don't know. It's probably not super high quality clay. But I'm not mad about it. Like, I think it looks fine and I love the character that it gives. So after I smooth it all out and let it dry, this is how it looks. And I'm just going to take some red paint. This is Flamenco by Apple Barrel, I believe. And I'm just going to give that a nice couple of coats of paint. And then I'm going to go on the underneath side with, I don't know, that might be Territorial Beige. I don't remember. It's been actually a while since I've done this project. But I will leave all the colors and everything that I use in my description box below. And I know this is burnt umber, all Apple Barrel paints. And I'm just creating the little gills. And I just love how this little mushroom turned out. It was just, I was so excited. And I had this vision in my head. I was like, oh, this is going to be so cute. And it did. It turned out so cute. And this is how it turned out. I put some fairy lights in there, some moss, one of those little sticks, and a frog from the fairy collection at the Dollar Tree. I adore this so much. I think it is just so cute. So for this project, we're going to start out with a book page and these mushroom stamps. I believe I got these from Wish. I will link them if I can in my description box down below. Otherwise, I think, you can probably get on Amazon or Wish, or actually it probably wasn't Wish. It was probably AliExpress that I got these mushroom stamps from. But if I can find them, I'll link them. Otherwise, I think you could probably just, Google mushroom stamps and find some easily. So I'm just going to stamp these mushrooms onto this book page using my Tuxedo Memento Black ink, and then I'm going to tear around the book page. Now this is a book that I keep on hand for this purpose, so it was like a second-hand book that was already ruined. So and then I just added that little key paper that I found, I don't know, a long time ago. I'm just kind of using stuff up from my stash. So, but I know that, you can find really cool papers in the open stock sections at like Michael's or Hobby Lobby, Joann's, things like that. So I think you'll probably find something similar. So for this framed project, we're going to just take our backing, just so we can get a gauge of how big we need our book page to be, and then I'll just cut that down. And I'm using my paper trimmer, but you don't have to, of course, use a paper trimmer. Just use your scissors to cut it down to size. And I'm going to botch this side up with my trimmer. My blade wasn't super sharp, so not like I said, I'll just go in with some scissors and just kind of clean it up. But I wasn't too concerned about it being 100% perfect. So these butterflies I got from the Dollar Tree. They came in a package of different size butterflies. And I'm just going to glue them down. So it's a super simple project, but I love how it turned out, and really gives me that cottagecore vibe that I like. And I'm just using my Gorilla glue stick for this. And then I'll just pop that right back into the frame. So super easy, but looks really beautiful. Boy, my editing skills were on point today, weren't they? Goodness sakes. So here is a look at how each of these turned out. I really love these mushroom stamps. I use them whenever I can. And of course the butterflies. I love butterflies so much. So this is our last project of the day. I am taking some of these rub-on transfers that I got from the Dollar Tree. They're just kind of their vintage looking rub-on transfers. And one of these jars, also from the Dollar Tree, I gave it a coat of spray paint, just a matte white spray paint, a couple coats. So I had this idea in my head that I kind of wanted it to look old and vintage, and so I thought, you know what, I'm going to try and see how these rub-on transfers go over that textured vase, because it is like a crosshatch kind of texture on the sides of the vases, or on the side of the jar. So I just put it down and it worked perfectly for what I wanted. So it cracked, it looked old, it looks vintage, and that was exactly the look that I was going for. So, yeah, it transferred wonderfully, but it did crack. So if you do this project, you'll just know that they do crack because, you know, it's got to separate in order to get through all those cracks or into all the nooks and crannies there. And I'm just taking some Distress Oxide in the color Vintage Photo, and I'm just going to daub that onto the vase just to give it more of a vintage aged look. And then I have some of this lace. It's kind of a peach colored lace that I got on clearance at Michael's. And I'll just hot glue that to the edge of the jar. And I folded down the edge of the lace there before I hot glued it, just to kind of finish it off, make it look a little more finished. And then I just made a little bow out of this lace ribbon from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to hot glue that right to the front there. And I did add on rub-on transfers to each of the sides. I didn't show you that, but yeah, so it's got rub-on transfers for all sides. And then I just added some florals from the Dollar Tree, and I think this is just beautiful. So let me know in the comments down below which one you liked the best, which one you might try. I really do appreciate you guys so much coming by and hanging out. Thank you so much. I hope you hit that subscribe button if you're not yet subscribed. Hit the like button, leave me a comment. And I hope you guys have a happy, healthy, and blessed day. And I will talk to you next time. Bye.